She's a criminal in the eyes of the law. But former Hidalgo County Commissioner Sylvia Handy continues to claim she's innocent.
Tonight, she gives the first sit-down interview to Action 4 News and says what she says may be surprising to some.
I am not guilty. I am innocent of all the charges that were lodged against me.
But a court thought otherwise and sent her to prison.
We had 200 women in one unit. So we had cells in the unit. There was 4 units, and I was in the B unit. And there was 4 of us to a cell.
Former Hidalgo County Commissioner Sylvia Handy telling her side of the story exclusively to Action 4 News. She claims she was never asked by any investigating agency about the phantom employee claims, and when the first woman came forward, she tried to tell law enforcement.
She came over and she wanted to turn herself in. I called the sheriff to tell him that I had the person that he was looking for so that I could turn her into him, because she wanted to turn herself in. The sheriff never returned my phone calls. When I finally got in touch with him was like 2 weeks later.
Handy spent time in prison for collecting checks in her county office for people who did not work there. She says the positions were filled by people, but they were undocumented immigrants using someone else's social security numbers.
It wasn't me. I never processed any paperwork as far as taking somebody's social security number or verifying their identification. None of that. That was not my job. That was the job of the payroll department.
As for the convictions of harboring illegals and using county funds to pay them at her home, Handy claims she didn't know the people working for her here were not legal residents.
Whatever babysitters I had here, I paid out of my own money. I may have had the mother working here and the daughter working over there. I may have had a sister working here and the other sister working at the county, but it was not the same person working here and there.
She's been found guilty on state charges now and will have 7 years of probation. Still, the former politician says she was in the dark about all of it.
There's a great need here in this precinct, and so it took me out all of the time to go look at projects, to go meet with the constituents, to go see, what was going on. So while I was doing my job, what I was supposed to be doing, I relied on those at the office to do what they were supposed to be doing.
Handy's personal life unraveled just as fast as her career.
By the time I came back out of prison, my husband had left me and took everything in my home. I came back to find my home completely abandoned. He took my son. I'm going through a divorce right now.
She's been home since last fall, but is just barely getting back on her feet.
Until my personal life is in order and as back to normal as possible, I will take it day by day.
Many of those days will include reports to her probation officer as she fulfills her 7-year sentence. It's much better, she says, than going back behind bars.
When I was transferred over here to Hidalgo County, they had me in solitary confinement. So I was in solitary confinement here in the jail that I helped build for over 6 months.
And while she feels betrayed by the same county she represented for more than a decade, Handy is fessing up, at least, to letting the crime slip past her.
Maybe there was not enough supervision over these employees. Maybe there was something else that could have been done to keep better track of these employees. But I had to take some sort of responsibility. I was the commissioner, I was the department head, and perhaps in hindsight there should have been closer supervision.
Handy was found guilty on 8 counts of public corruption today, and in addition to probation, will have to pay $150,000 in restitution. She says she has to get a job to pay that back, and she's considering going back to where she first started as a court clerk. There are already hundreds of people chatting about this story online. Join the conversation at facebook.com/Action4News Marcy or on Twitter at MarcyKGBT.